to try to do it locally. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm going to open the meeting. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio video recorded. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken from these discussions. Not all items may be discussed, and other items may be raised to the extent permitted by open meeting law. Please be advised that the town of Lunenburg utilizes Zoom platform as host for its hybrid and remote meetings. The Zoom platform utilizes AI technology known as AI Companion to create audio transcriptions of meetings to aid in the subsequent preparation of meeting minutes. And that AI Companion is activated immediately upon launching the Zoom application. You are hereby notified that this AI technology may capture audio prior to the start of the meeting and or following the conclusion of the meeting. Okay, so gonna do roll call vote. Mike LaRouche,
here,
Richard Bursch,
Here.
Peter Stella,
Here.
Mary Wilson,
Here.
and Jeff Viviano.
Here.
And Christine Germain is not here tonight. So I have some continuation requests today. So one is 1083 Northville Road has asked to be continued to the July meeting. And the first July meeting, which would be July 2nd, if that's the date that we end up doing that. And then 31 Round Road asked to be continued to the next meeting. So we will skip over those tonight, if anybody is here for those. Okay, do we have any announcements from members of the commission? Okay, do we have any announcements from members of the public? Does not seem like it. Okay. All right, so we do not have any meeting minutes to approve that I have been made aware of. We'll move past that. And then moving on, we have our new public hearings. So the new agenda does not have the little blurb on it to read from, so I'm gonna wing this. All right, so pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a determined RDA for 10 Sandy Cove Road for the insertion of a dock. Do we have the applicant or a representative here today? I don't recognize anyone that's here as.
It may be just joining, Jenny.
And
Yeah,
I did.
I think I just admitted Matt into the waiting room or in from the
Okay,
waiting
yep.
room.
Okay. Hi, Matt. We're actually opening the hearing for 10 Sandy Cove right now. So are you here for yourself or do you have anyone else here representing you?
Oh, my apologies. Can you hear me now?
I can.
My apologies. So Matt Furtado here with Christine Furtado, 10 Sandy Cove Road.
Great. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your application?
Yeah, we're just looking for permission to put in a rolling dock in the back. What else is
Yep,
there?
that's really it.
Yeah, it's aluminum. Say probably no more than 15 yards in
Yards. You think it's that real? Yeah.
at max, maybe even 10.
Do you have any pictures of the area or the dock or any drawings that you'd like to share with us?
You know what? I thought I submitted stuff, but I might have done it on the other. I don't think I do actually, but is that something you need right now?
So, it's,
Let me put my phone, let me get my phone.
Hey, Jenny, I can share quick.
Yeah, I thought there might have been images on uploaded.
There are some at the, Madam Chair, there are some at the OpenGov site.
Thank you. Yes, I thought we did put some up there.
I think we lost Jenny's microphone, maybe. I'm not.
Oh, yeah, we're not hearing any Jenny.
Well, I guess while we're waiting for Jenny to kick back on, applicant can continue describing what they're looking to do. I believe this is a copy of the picture of the dock that was submitted.
Yeah, correct. So it came from somebody down the street. They were putting in, I guess, a built-in dock. And so we just rolled it down the street to our house and we're just looking for approval to stick it in the back here.
Okay, one question I did have, are we going with one of these two locations, or are we gonna swap off one here this year, one here next year, or what is the significance of the two spots?
Possibly the reason for changing is because we're trying to clean up the cove. I guess it hasn't been done in many, many years. So, right now we have it where it says 120 and we're just slowly cleaning with the lake rake and, you know, bringing stuff in there. And then we're hoping maybe next summer we move it to the other side and, you know, clean that area up a little bit.
Okay. And how are you gonna get from the land to the dock?
Oh, it can set right on the land.
Okay. So you're not doing any improvements to the land at all?
Absolutely nothing. We're just setting it there and stepping on it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look at the previous picture, you can see like it's the way it's wheeled. It's like a horse and carriage, right? So it'll just wheel right in and stabilize with the back. We'll put that on the land.
Okay. Yeah, because where that is in the 30-foot no touch zone, you're really not supposed to be doing any improvements or alterations to the land itself.
We're not looking to touch the land at all, just kind of rake the muck out and that's it.
Okay, and you're disposing of the muck when you remove it from the water?
Well, right now we have some on the ground drying.
Mm-hmm.
So if you let us know the appropriate way to do it, we will do that.
I think one of the problems with having the muck too close to the shoreline is all of the phosphates and other nutrients flow back into the water.
Okay.
So you really should be trying, if you remove it from the water, you should remove it so that it doesn't drain back into the lake.
Oh yeah, we want it gone. We don't want to leave it on the shore. We want to clean it completely out.
Okay. All right, commissioners have any questions?
None for me.
All right, seeing none, we still have a quorum. So I would accept the motion for a negative determination.
So moved.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, roll call vote. Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Peter Stella,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right, so that negative determination means that it's not going to have an impact on the wetlands, so you're free to continue on and put it into the water.
Thank you
In either
so
one,
much.
in either one of the two spots. It's not it's not for two docks. It's just for the one dock in either location.
Correct.
All right, super.
Thanks so much. We're
You're
so excited. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy. Have a great summer.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Is Jenny back in yet?
No, I haven't seen her in the waiting room.
Okay. Just text her to make. Okay, so she would pop up in the waiting room.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'll text her.
Okay. Moving forward, 1083 Northfield Road. In accordance with, oh, I don't even have the thing to read here, huh?
Which
In
one was
accordance with-
continued?
This one here, I just have to open it so we can continue it.
Okay, gotcha.
In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetland Protection and Municipal Bylaws. We have a we have a notice of intent for 1083 Northfield Road. The applicant has requested a continuance at this time. So I'll accept the motion for continuance till, where are we gonna continue to? The 18th of June.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mike,
Second,
second by Mary. Roll call vote. Peter Stella,
Yes, aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
and I for myself. Moving forward. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetland Protection and Municipal Bylaws. The Conservation Commission will hold a hearing for 60 Cross Road. I'm not familiar with what a CAOC is, Mary.
It's shoot, I just looked it up the other day. It is I think an amendment request.
Okay.
I think it's a project, yeah, I think it's a amendment, or a notice of project change.
And is there an owner and applicant present for 60 Cross Road?
Yes.
Request for
Anderson with Hannigan
modification
Engineering.
to an order of conditions. Chris Anderson, I think I heard you put your hand up.
Yep.
Alrighty, what are we looking to change?
Screen, I can show the plan and the red line sketch of everything, if that works for you.
Yep. Go right ahead. Are you able to share?
I just sent the request.
Did it go to you, Mary?
Yeah,
Okay,
I approved it.
okay.
So can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Just for the record, Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering, here on behalf of Tim Gendron for an amended order of conditions request. This project was approved by the commission back in August of last year, with the order conditions being issued later in October. So right now we have a full force and effect order of conditions for the construction of a single family home on what's known as Lot 12A at 60 Cross Road. The original design of the site included a typical colonial style dwelling. Since then, the applicant has evaluated cost of construction and other such features and is looking to change the shape of the existing house to make it more quote unquote compact. So we're maintaining the original limits of disturbance and are proposing to construct in lieu of a 1,584 square foot building, a 1,312 square foot building in its place. We are maintaining the 50-foot buffer zone, the no build zone as required by the bylaw. And as I stated earlier, we're not encroaching any closer to the wetland that was originally approved with the erosion control measures. I can pull up the red line sketch. The red line shows what was originally approved with the proposed amendment dwelling kind of in the background there to show. So we're still maintaining the intent of the plan, just shrinking the footprint and shifting it a little bit here and there to keep it outside the 50-foot buffer zone. With that being said, if there's any questions from the board or the commission, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
So the overall disturbance, Chris, in the buffer zone is the same, more or less?
The erosion control line, which is the limit of disturbance, has remained exactly the same.
Okay, nope, the house itself.
Yep, the house footprint shrinks by about 260 square feet-ish. The deck is a little bit bigger, but all in all, you're seeing a net reduction in building footprint, if you will.
Okay, so red was what was approved and the plan itself is what's existing now, or what is proposed?
Yes.
Okay. And was there a well previous?
There was a well previously. It was located in this corner. And upon further review with the Board of Health, they have a 50-foot setback from the property line. So we are looking to shift it within the limit of disturbance, but a little bit closer to this corner here of the development, just to maintain the required offsets.
Okay, and that's an offset to
Property line.
property line offset, okay.
Local local Board of Health well regulations require a 50-foot offset to a property line.
Okay. I have no further questions at this time. Commissioners, any questions for Chris at 60 Cross Road?
None for me.
All right, I guess seeing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the CAOC.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call vote. Peter Stella,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you very much, Chris.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right, moving forward. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended, the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws. The commission will hold a hearing on 417 Northfield Road, a notice of intent continued from May 21st. As an owner or applicant present for 417 Howard Street.
Yep. You guys hear me all right?
Yep.
So, John Plifka, McCarty Engineering, here tonight representing the applicant Steve Lottie. So, this is for the construction of a single-family house located at 417 Howard Street. The project was previously in front of the commission at the last conservation hearing, and it was requested that a site walk be conducted. So since then, we have completed a site walk with the town's interim agent. And she was basically out there just to verify the wetland delineation, and which she did. So we don't have any changes to the plans since you last seen them. I'm happy to share my screen if you'd like to see it, or if you guys want to pull it up.
Yeah, if you could, John, and I do see our chair, Jenny, is back on.
Yeah, hold on.
Hopefully.
Sorry, it wouldn't let me unmute. I'm back on, but I'm on my phone because I'm still logging into everything on another computer. I didn't
Okay.
want to miss anything. I came in and I heard that we're on 417 Howard Street right now.
We
That's
are.
correct.
And so I want to say I did speak to Herlin, and she went out there and she thought that the delineation looked good, and we just asked that it be reflagged, was my understanding.
Reflagged.
Well,
Yeah,
that take the old flags and put new flags on them because there were older flags there.
Okay. It was my understanding that yes, they were older flags, but they were still accurate. And that was her conclusion of her site walk.
Okay. I'll have to check with her. I thought that when I was out there, I thought that they were hard to find or hard to see. So
It's
I-
okay.
I know that there were three that we found no problem.
Mhm.
And then the other ones we did not see. So I thought that we were going to have those just put new flags on them. on where the old flags were that were from a previous delineation.
Okay. It was my understanding that those 3 flags were in the immediate area of our action, and that, you know, the older flags are far outside of our scope of work. So it wasn't, you know, made, you know, mission critical to reflag that, was my understanding.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yep. Yes.
I have Herland's notes up. I would be happy to read them.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, and these are in OpenGov, so while the delineation appeared satisfactory, I advise the applicant's representatives that the commission would prefer a clear and proper placement of the wetland flag markers to ensure alignment with the approved plan. And so that's Herland's communication to us about the flags, and there's some other information in there about her assessment, but that's her communication to us about the dialogue about reflagging.
Yeah, that seems like what my understanding was from speaking
Okay.
to her.
I apologize, I'm filling in a little bit here, but, okay, if that's, I wasn't aware of that comment, so. If there's any other further questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So did I miss the part where we asked questions, or? No, were you about to, I'm sorry, this is a mess. Were you about to show us something before I barged in?
I believe I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if you guys can see it or not.
I think we
Oh, I
see
can
the
see it, yeah.
agenda.
Oh, is it still the
Yeah,
agenda?
it's the
Yeah.
agenda.
Because it's, let's see. Apologies for that. How about now?
Still oh, there we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
All
Yeah.
right. So, again, I understand that Herland had her comments about reflagging it. Our 3 flags were right here. Flags W1, 2, and 3. Sorry, I'm a little jittery. Which, you know, anything past that's outside of the 100-foot buffer of our work. So that was my understanding, is that we didn't have to reflag the entire thing. It's because it's outside of our scope of work. Our surveyor picked up the old flags. Sorry.
Madam Chair.
Oh, so I mean, the flags are semi there, and
Mhm.
I think that, I mean, you're still, even if it's outside of the scope of work, you're still in the area. And I don't think it makes sense to just delineate that one small area, even if it's because it's still very close to where you're working.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Richard.
I had a quick question, if you don't mind, and
Absolutely.
maybe an idea. Mary, did you say that Herland found that the delineation was correct?
Yeah, I'll read the whole thing. The site is located within a wooded area with a moderate underbrush typical of second growth New England forest. While on site, a discussion was had about the numerous flags. Several of the tapes were labeled LOD, limit of disturbance, indicating the boundary for the proposed work. Site flagging appears consistent with the NOI plan. The stone wall slope contours and drainage paths observed align with the features on the plan. Soil appears stable, no signs of erosion or sediment transport were noted. And while the delineation appeared satisfactory, I advised the applicant's representative that the commission would prefer a clear and proper placement of wetland flag markers to assure alignment with the approved plan. And that was the entirety of Herland's communication to us about the site walk.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
So I might just suggest that we ask the applicant to reflag with the proper wetland flags, which are the blue flags, and notate them properly on site, and have Herland verify the flag placement when she goes out to verify the erosion protection. And put that as part of the erosion protection approval.
I
Okay.
think that sounds,
Yeah, because they can't start until after, they have to notify us once the erosion protection's in place, so they can't start work until after we've approved the erosion protection.
right.
And I'm.
But
We'd be
that-
amendable to that, as a condition of approval, if you want us to add some more flags. Erling can verify that they're there during our site walk.
Yeah, just to ensure, I mean, blue flags are wetland flags, and if they're not blue, you may get a contractor out there that doesn't recognize the pink flags as a wetland flag and start doing things they shouldn't.
Okay, yep.
That would be my suggestion, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I think that that's a very reasonable suggestion. And I would want to add that as a condition.
Okay, yeah, we can just add that as a special condition.
And then another thing that has come up, as like the size of this site is, oh, Mary?
I may have been getting ready to say the same thing that you were going to say, Madam Chair. But my concern is that with the size of the site and the house actually just being over the line on the larger of the two parcels and no delineation having been assessed outside of the limit of work other than that, one wetland area that was the subject of dialogue. I think that I would recommend putting a note in there that we haven't assessed the rest of the parcel so that there's no misunderstanding that if we do approve this, that we are confirming there are no wetlands in the rest of the site.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. So thank you so much for saying that.
If I may,
Yeah.
we did have our wetland scientist walk this. This was the only area that she had found, and it's also not mapped on GIS. So I'm just a little hesitant to agree to that. It's, it's a single family lot. We're not proposing a huge amount. What you see is what we're proposing.
John, this is Steve Lottie. I'm the applicant. I don't have an issue with that on the order of conditions.
Okay.
We're not doing any construction outside of the plan, so that's fine.
Mary, you had something to say?
I thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say that and I'm glad the applicant's amenable to that. But since we haven't assessed the rest of it, and the only wetland scientist report that I've seen was in the winter and did not include soil samples, I would have a lot of concern about that, not having either soil samples or non-snow covered, growth season type of assessment.
Absolutely. I agree with that. So, and thank you for the applicant for agreeing to that condition. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? I think, Rich, because you opened this hearing, do you have to be the one to close it?
No.
Okay. Do we have any questions at all from engineers or applicants or? No. Okay, so I would be looking for a motion to approve with the condition that proper flagging is put in place when the erosion controls are added. And then the condition that we are just accepting the delineation that we have now as per that portion of the parcel. Not sure what the verbiage there would be. If anybody has any suggestions. But I'd be looking for a motion.
I would make a motion to approve the project with the added special condition that the wetland flags need to be blue flags and approved when the erosion protection is approved prior to the start of the project, and that no further wetlands were investigated on this property other than what was shown on this plan.
Second.
Perfect. All right, we have Richard with the motion and Mary with the second. Roll call vote. Peter Stella,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Richard Burge,
Aye.
and Jeff Viviano.
I'll actually have to pass on this one without a Mullins form. I
Okay.
was absent the last meeting, so.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep. So, pass, it's approved and, that's it. Moving on.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You.
All right, so we have up next 390 Howard Street for an abbreviated, so for an ANRAD, DEP number 2081304. Do we have the applicant or a representative here tonight? I don't think I've seen anybody.
I thought I saw a request. Oh, no, it wasn't for this one. It was for Round Road.
Yeah, the Round Road is, I'm gonna skip over that one, but 390 Howard, they, our peer review, our delineator, had reached out and said that he had sent some things in April. We have not been able to locate them. So, I assumed they would be at the meeting tonight to show us, but they are not here. So we are still waiting to see what has come in. I think there was 3 things that there was supposedly a new delineation report and a letter. So I haven't seen them yet. We have asked for them to resend them though. So where they're not here, I think we're looking for, I guess, a motion to continue on this one.
So moved to continue until June 18th.
To June 7th, is it 8th? Yes, 18th.
Second.
Thank you. This one, that's our last meeting in this term.
Yep, Madam Chair, we'll lose quorum for this
Right.
project then.
Yeah, so do we have any recommendations about handling this differently tonight? Before I jump the gun?
Madam Chair, I don't know that there is anything else that we can do at this point in time. If I recall, the town council's advice, he said that as we get into this circumstance, we need to formally notify the applicant that they've lost quorum and advise that they need to re-notify, and the commission will need to recommission a group to actually deliberate anew. And so, I'm optimistic that the select board will backfill all the vacancies. I think on the 17th is when they're going to make those decisions. And so you would be in a position to start out with a recommissioned group at the beginning of July. But
Okay.
I do think that we're obligated to officially notify the applicant of that circumstance.
Okay, so we'd have to have Harlan reach out as soon as possible and let them know.
And
Okay.
preferably in
Like
a
tomorrow.
written form that we have to substantiate it.
Okay. I will let her know. Okay, so motion to continue for tonight. Who was the motion? Is that Richard?
Yep, I made the motion.
And a second from Mike, I think.
No. Yes.
Okay, so roll call vote. Peter Stella,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
and Richard Burge.
Aye.
Okay, continued to June 18th, and we will notify the applicant that we are about to lose quorum on this. All right, so the next one was where they requested a continuation to the next meeting, which is June 18th. And then after that, we have the continued hearing for 221 Electric Ave. And do we have the applicant or there? Oh, I see Dan Sheehan is on with us.
Madam Chair, don't we have to open Round Road to continue it?
Do we have to open it to continue it?
Yeah.
Okay. Even if we know that they're asking for a continuation? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we have to state when the next meeting is, or you lose continuation of the meeting. If
Okay.
there's anybody from the public that's not present, that is here for that hearing.
Oh, I thought that I took care of that by saying that it was continued in the beginning.
Well, we still have to approve the continuance as a commission.
Okay. Okay. So 31 Round Road, it's an NOI -25-8 continued from 5/21. Motion to continue to our next meeting, which is June 18th, 2025.
So move.
Second?
Okay. Roll call vote. Peter Stella,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Richard Birsch.
Aye.
Okay. Continued to June 18th, 2025.
And I did have just one other quick question as we're going through the hearings, and it may have changed, but I thought we had to list the authority that we are opening the hearings under, which is the Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Lunenburg Wetland Protection and Municipal Bylaws. Did that change, Mary?
What you're saying, Rich, is consistent with what I've heard at the MACC training classes.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
you may want to, Jenny, just unfortunately, it's just a preamble to the hearings, but it clarifies the authority that we are holding these hearings if they're ever appealed.
Okay. So, pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, public hearing on 221 Electric Ave, NOI -24-9, continued from 5/21. And we do have the engineer.
Correct.
Oh.
Representative here, Dan Shan with Haley Ward. So I know from our last meeting, we just continued from, there was a suggestion, I shouldn't say suggestion, request for some revisions to the plans to have the wetland flag series 200 removed, as well as share these plans with the DEP, which I did as well. I'm just going to share my screen here to show you guys here this afternoon or evening. Perfect. So here's the plans that I had submitted over to you guys. You guys can see this yet?
I can see it. You can see it.
Perfect. So originally there was the 200 series that kind of came across the side here and continued down, and then I believe daylighted out, for lack of a better term, on the eastern property line. Those have been removed, and I believe that kind of covers at least the revisions. I'd be more than happy to give a more general review of this if you'd like, but at this point, I guess I'll pass it back over to you, Jenny, and see if you have any questions or comments, concerns.
So I don't have any questions. Do any members of the commission have any questions?
Madam Chair, just a point of order on the plan. Has it been submitted through OpenGov? I did not see it on OpenGov.
It was submitted on 5/30.
This plan
you
here
have-
with the changes?
Yeah, so it's called there, I think it's pronounced Zaris 221 Electric Ave, site plan _ 5/30/25. And he did also send an email when he uploaded it, I believe.
Yes, that is correct.
So it is, where did I just find it? It was, uploaded June 3rd, actually. So it's the one, they don't go in order when you open up the attachments. It's about, if you click on the attachments, though, it's about the 7th one down.
Yeah, unfortunately, when I upload, I can't like reassociate to like the initial submittal. I know, again, I'll kind of speak out of term here. Logan O'Connell, who has done a lot of work for the planning board, he's usually kind of reorganized it in OpenGov and has made it a lot easier. I know he's your temporary assistant. He might be able to kind of assist Herlin with that as well. I just speaking out loud, I guess.
Okay, I mean, it's definitely showing up under attachments. And I don't know, that seems like the right place for it to be. As far as, I don't know where it would be attached other than under attachments.
You're correct, Jenny. I guess where I was trying to go with this, during the stormwater permit we did for the planning board, I don't know how, you know, the, I guess, colleagues would do it, but they actually have like revisions underneath each of the attachments. So I personally had found that to be a little bit more intuitive because you'd click on the site plans and then you'd see revision like 3 or 2, 1, whatever, but it would be under that site plan section. To me, I found to be a bit more intuitive.
Okay, well, yeah, that's kind of like using Procore or something like that. That's kind of what I'm used to. I didn't know that OpenGov was capable of that. That should be something that we should look into.
Logan's the mastermind. I don't know how that works. I'll be honest.
Okay. All right, awesome. Okay, thanks for letting us know.
Yep.
Were you able to find it, Richard?
No,
So are you in NOI-24-9?
I am.
And if you go down, it's under the O&M plan for me.
So I have details and files, 7 files submitted. WPA 3, site plan, second site plan, photographs, engineering documents, certified abutters list, and abutter notification.
And these are, I have 18 attachments
Huh,
in this one.
okay. Well, we can move on. I can try it later. As long as you have it, as long as it's submitted.
It's definitely in here under the 221
Okay.
site. So, do we have any other questions from members of the commission about this one? Do we have any questions from members of the public? Okay, I think I'd be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
All right, roll call vote. Peter Stella,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano.
This one I missed as well, so I
Oh, right.
just abstain. Is that the technical term?
Well, you were here for.
I was here previously, but if you opened it on the 21st, I did not have a
Right.
chance to view that meeting and sign Mullins form. So
Okay, so moving over you and then Richard Birch.
Aye.
Okay, approved.
Great. Thank you guys very much.
So much. Have a good night.
Thank you as well.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just noticed the last 3 votes, you have not voted. Is that by choice or?
Oh my gosh. That is true. I have not.
Okay,
That is a good catch. This whole computer thing has broken my brain. Thank you for picking up on that, but we still had we had enough votes to pass on each one. So
Okay. you
we had
have.
at least 4.
I just did not want you to not have your opportunity to have your say.
So, well, I messed that one up, but I would have voted aye on all of them. So, all right. So thank you, Mike.
All right.
Moving on, we have an administrative determination for 5 Electric Ave, but we don't have an administrator here, so I don't think that it doesn't look we have the applicant on either. I don't think that we can move forward with that without an administrator or the applicant, right? Oh, Jeff?
what? I need to get up to speed with Sophie. What's her situation now? Is she gone or is she on a leave or?
Last I heard, I just texted her to see how she's doing, and she said that maybe she might be back 6/16. That's all I know.
Oh, okay. So she
So
is coming back. Okay.
as far as I know, that's what I was told. And the We have Herlin right now and she's great. But she
Okay.
has her meeting in Fitchburg tonight, so she can't be at the meeting tonight.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So Richard or anybody, we have to just move on from this one because we don't have an administrator or the applicant, right?
I've downloaded the wrong agenda, but I don't even see it listed under administrative determinations.
Oh, you know what? That's right. It's not there. I was looking at the other agenda. I was looking at the other agenda to have the MGL from last week, just so I knew what to read before. Right, because it's not on the agendas anymore. I'm gonna have to ask Logan to put it back so I can read it correctly when I'm going through the hearings. Okay, so enforcements, 10 Mass Ave, I have not heard anything about that. I did ask Herlin to follow up on that. I haven't heard anything. If anyone else knows anything.
I'm not aware of anything.
Um,
But we did get a confirmation around about February or March from Dillis and Roy that they had been contracted to do this work. And at that time, Greg, I think, said he didn't think he would be able to commence work until maybe May. Perhaps we could get Logan or Herlin to double check with Dillis and Roy that they're still under contract to work that project and to get a date, the better date for when they'll be able to present it to the commission.
yeah, okay, we can ask Herlin. For 40 Fire Road 12, I got notification today from Bill Bernard that the boulders were placed. I'm on my phone, so I can't share a picture, but where I can forward an email if somebody else would like to share the picture. It's just boulders in the spot. But where the boulders are placed, I think that we could close this one out tonight. Would anyone like to see a picture of the boulders?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to forward this to you because I'm on my phone and I cannot share a picture from my phone. All right, I sent it to you.
The photos didn't come through. It's not one thing, it's another tonight, Jenny.
I am just having a rough day today.
But it's not the, if I may, I don't think it's the urgency of the day, so we can wait and handle that in a more, oh, okay, we did get them. Okay, I got it. I can share. Let's see. Yeah, I can share that. If I may share.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I believe this is the Fire Road, and the foreground is closest to Reservoir Road, and the foreground is towards the peninsula. And this looks lovely.
Yeah. Very grateful to the DPW for getting that done.
Oh yeah, that's excellent.
So with that being the last part of this violation, to move on, I think that we could do a motion to close this. Is that how we close a violation?
Was it filed as a violation or was it filed the remediation as a notice of intent?
It was a notice of intent.
Oh.
And I think
right.
now it's in a position to ask for a COC.
Certificate.
Okay.
And
All
and
right.
I think the applicant is the town.
Yes, it is. So I'll have to ask the town to file for a COC?
Which would be Herlin.
Right. Okay. Let's make a note. Okay. So, moving on to, does anyone have any questions about that one or? moving on to 48 Meadow Lane. Do we have any updates on that? I'm not aware of any. All right. 314 Highland Street. Um, 1168 Mass Ave rear. I know that they were, last I knew from after the last meeting, they were looking into 314 Highland Street and 1168 Mass Ave rear and 390 Howard Street and 1147 Mass Ave in the office. I have not gotten any updates about any of them though. I did send an email asking about updates this morning, but I haven't heard anything. And then do we have anything on 199 Mass Ave? Oh, okay. So for new business, I asked that Logan add a topic for adding, and I spoke to Richard and Mary about this, but adding a boilerplate order of conditions verbiage on delineation of large parcels. So having something in our boilerplate order of conditions that would cover us for these large parcels when only a little bit of it is being delineated. To say something, I'd be looking for good verbiage. I mean, Richard had something earlier, just say something like, we are not because we're delineating this piece of the parcel, we're not accepting it as a delineation for the rest of the parcel. And if there were to be any further work, we would be expecting there to be another application.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like, what Rich had said earlier, on the Howard Street parcel, but I would recommend that we get that written up and that we have it reviewed by both by town council and by DEP as acceptable in their perspective. And of course, with the benefit of Herlin's experience as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that definitely we would have to do that. I just wanted to socialize with the commission. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? Are they against it or?
Madam Chair, I have been thinking about this, and I think we do need to do a little more research on it, because if it is thought that the commission's responsibility is to review the entire site for wetlands and approve whatever wetlands are on the site, that it would have to be disclosed during a hearing that we are reserving our right to determine other wetlands on the site outside of the development envelope. But I think it's something that we'd have to bring up at the hearing that the applicant would have to agree to. If it's something that is that they expect, that it is our duty to inform them, or it's our duty to ensure that there are no other wetlands on the site. So I think that by just putting it in the order of conditions, it may be after the fact, and it may be something that we have to bring up during the hearing so that the applicant is aware of that prior to, because they may want us to verify the wetlands on the site.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's table that for now.
I for what it's worth, I agree with what Rich is saying, because I mean, just in tonight's dialogue, we had some we said it out loud, and I think we did all the right things, but it gave the applicant's representative to verbalize that they had different expectations of the outcome.
Yeah. And I think that handling it that way also works too, having it just as a perpetual condition, as a special condition on properties like this. And we're bringing it up in the hearing. So that would make sense too, rather than have it be in the boilerplate. Oh, Peter?
I have a question. A 30-foot no touch definition, which is, as far as I've read in our rules, it's a definition, which legally is not a rule. That's like, I question the actual legality of telling people that they cannot utilize property without just compensation. So the question I have is, how was that rule even adopted?
Are you asking how our bylaws
How
were
was the
adopted?
definition created in the Wetlands Protection Bylaw?
You're talking specifically, obviously, to our town bylaws, and you're asking how they were created?
Well, you know how town bylaws are created, correct?
Yes, so that's what is that what you're asking though, is how
Well,
this became a bylaw?
bylaws are adopted by towns, and they're proscribed by legal process, which is like generally voted on most instances, to some degree by the state legislature. And I just wonder how we came up with, let's say, first of all, extending our authority to 30 feet outside of the wetland beyond, it's an extension of the wetland, for one. For two, we're not even in all conditions. I mean, if someone wants to do something in a wetland and it's their private property, they have every right to do so. Provided they, go through a process. I mean, if you look at it legally, people usually don't, because there's plenty of land to use otherwise. But I just find it troubling to me that we have such a thing, and I don't think anybody will ever do it, but someone might at some time in the future challenge the authority that we have created in the bylaw as to whether or not it's even legal for us to do so.
So if I might, Madam Chair?
Yes, please, Richard.
Yeah, so the authority of the Conservation Commission comes under the Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is a Wetland Protection Act, which states that a wetland is an area of concern and protection. The bylaw, now that we have authority in that general realm of wetlands, the town bylaw was approved under the Home Rule Act, which allows the towns to govern their own properties and lands. And in that bylaw, it does give the Conservation Commission authority to create regulations under the authority of that bylaw. And in the regulations, it states the 3 buffer zones that we have authority to regulate as a commission. So the bylaw itself that states that we can make the regulations was done at town meeting, like Pete said, and the authority overall to have the authority to regulate the wetland areas comes under the Mass General Law. So, I mean, it's something that's been there decades. I think our bylaw was maybe back in 1978. The Wetlands Protection Act was 1972, and the Conservation Commission was created by a state act back in the 60s, the Conservation Commissions Act. So they are all well rooted in law.
Well, the thing is, you still have no authority to deprive someone of the use of their land without compensation. And I don't know. I just think that sooner or later somebody might just take you to court.
Yeah,
So-
and they're more than welcome. There's certainly avenues for them to do that, to take us to Mass Superior Court.
Right.
And generally, it's done every time somebody has taken an appeal to decision.
I don't.
It has never come to the
support
case that we
anyone,
don't have authority to
not
issue the
involved
conditions
with
that we
the
do.
I mean, it's just a matter of it's
Peter, Can you let
Whatever way you
Richard just
wanna
finish what
cut
he
it.
was saying?
It's depriving someone of property rights. So, I mean, I have no problem, you know, restricting what people do within the 100-foot buffer to protect the wetland, but outright telling people they can't touch their property, it's just, to me, it's illegal. It's criminal, actually.
They can't,
But
they
anyway,
can't
you
develop
know, you
it.
can do whatever you
No.
want.
The development has to be controlled.
No, it doesn't. You're completely, you're talking about actually extending the wetland 30 feet into their private property where the wetland doesn't even exist. Beyond that, beyond the fact that they can use the wetland if they so choose, it's theirs if it's private wetland. Also, a lot of what you call wetland doesn't really constitute a habitat. A little wet spot in somebody's backyard, and you tell them they can't, for instance, they can't drain it and turn it into farmland, as something that's done quite commonly. So I think you're missing the actual purpose of the Wetlands Protection Act.
Okay. Mary, you have something to say?
But I'm just gonna leave it at that. I have nothing more to say.
Oh, Mary, I think you're muted. I know you're muted.
Yeah, I am muted.
Mm.
Yeah, so what Pete is saying is concerning to me because each of us that sit on this commission took an oath to uphold these regulations. And Pete, it sounded like you were saying that you cannot uphold these regulations because you believe them to be illegal, which is contrary to your oath.
No, that's not contrary to my oath. So, I mean, take it up with the selectmen if you choose to. Thank you.
So then what you're saying is you can and will enforce the regulations as written.
There's nothing in the bylaw that really tells me what that no-touch definition, how it's to be applied, as I've been able. I mean, I'm going to reread it, but so in my opinion, if someone wants to do something with that within that area, they should be allowed to do it, provided that they take extreme measures not to disturb the wetland.
If you read our wetland regulation, our local wetland regulation, it actually defines the resource area as the buffer zones, and therefore conveys upon them all of the protections of the resource area.
Never mind. Never mind. I'm done.
Okay, so, I mean, the oath is to uphold the wetlands protection of the regulations of the Wetlands Protection Act and the Lunenburg bylaws, and they are written. So that is concerning, but I think that we can move on. What is next? Oh, we have topics unknown. One thing I just wanted to, I guess I could bring it up here, is our meeting plan, which is, we've done our calendar a year ahead, and that expires at the end of this month. So we don't have anything set up for July or August or September or anything in the next fiscal year. So maybe we don't have to talk about it tonight, but I would like to just make sure. Oh, Mary?
I actually thought, and they may have published it and squirreled it away somewhere, but I actually thought they had through August or September.
I looked at the.
I'll look back in my emails, but I had advocated for that specifically for circumstances like this. But I thought they had it. I'll go back and look at my email, Jenny. But even if they do have it, it doesn't keep us from redefining it, right?
Yeah, so I remember we had talked about doing it through the end of this year. And I think that Sophie may have come back and said we only wanted to do it through the end of the fiscal year. And I have an email from her that goes to the end of this month. I remember an email that had gone further. I feel like there was some pushback about going past the fiscal year for some reason. And now we're up on it and I'm thinking July 4th is the first, week of July, obviously, but that July 2nd meeting may be tough for some commissioners. And I wasn't sure if we wanted to look at moving it to the 2nd and 4th Wednesday in July, just to not be in a week that a lot of people go away. And we don't have to, and I can put it on the agenda for next week, but I just want to, put a pin in it so that people have a chance to think about if we want to have those meetings for the 2nd and 4th Wednesday instead of the 1st and 3rd Wednesday in July. So does anyone have anything to say about that, or should I move on?
The only comment I would have, Madam Chair, is to make sure that there are open Zoom slots. That there
Oh,
are
right.
other boards and commissions that are meeting on the 9th. I am on the website and there is nothing in the July calendar at all.
Okay. Okay, I'll have to check with that. I'll see what I'll look at maybe the June schedule and see who meets on the 2nd see if anybody meets on the 2nd or 4th Wednesday. So.
Yeah, I see
Okay,
a whole
thank you,
bunch
Richard.
meeting on the 1st Wednesday, but I don't see anybody meeting at any other Wednesdays here in June.
Okay.
And because I thought we were on the same schedule as the school committee, and I see them for the 4th. So they're meeting this evening. Historical
Okay,
and
so
then Parks meet tonight too.
Are they those are one meeting per month, right? I believe. Not the school committee. I think that
The school
Parks and,
committee.
yeah, and historical are once per month though. Okay, that's good. I will have to make sure I'll talk to, I guess, would I talk to Julie about that? I'll figure out who to talk to about that and make sure that we'll have I guess that would be the public access channel, like Joe or Heidi. Okay. Old business. We have the peer review process. We don't have any updates on that as far as I know. Default continuations practice. Conservation budget. I did just get an email that they were going to be sending out a budget, but I have not received a budget, but they were going to send out an update on the
They're
budget
supposed to
where-
do it on the 15th of every month. I mean, is what, Madam Chair, is what I had been advised, is that they were supposed to send the department budget summaries out on the 15th by default.
I have not received one. I mean, I
Oh,
think
but-
last month would have been the first month that I received one. Oh no, did
They
you get
don't
one last
send it
month?
to email. They don't send them by email. They what they did, and I had not observed a different practice, is they emailed it to Maddie, and then Maddie posted it in SharePoint, or they posted it in SharePoint and sent Maddie a note that it was posted in SharePoint. I just knew that on the 15th of the month it showed up in our meeting documents.
Okay. I'm gonna guess that maybe that hasn't been happening with Maddie gone. We do, that reminds me, we do have a new assistant in the office who was confirmed last night. His name is Richard Gale. He'll be with us 10 hours per week in the office as taking over the position that Maddie was in. So you said it was in the meetings folder
Correct.
Okay.
And it's probably stuck with, I think maybe Sophie had been moving it over after Maddie departed our company, and probably just has gone nowhere since Sophie's been out of the office.
Okay. I will check in with the office. I'll ask Logan if maybe he can get that in there for the next meeting, because that would be right around the time that it should be available.
And I think I heard at the select board meeting last night that They just changed over their financial systems to a cloud version. So it may very well be something that got lost in the fray while they've been managing that transition as well.
That's true. Yes. So, yeah, I just went back a few folders and I'm not seeing anything. I'm into March now. And I know we haven't had any updates in the last couple meetings as far as the budget goes. So maybe we can, I'll see if Logan knows anything about that. All right, so open space and land use as chapter 61, open gov workflow. Grants updates.
Madam Chair, did we see last night a new chapter 61 notification?
Oh yeah, so
at
we
the
did-
select board?
Yeah, we had 222 West Townsend Road is, we're still waiting for the town council to verify that I guess the sale is, what was the word they used? Council has 15 days to review the document. So the copy of the documentation has been sent to town council for their review. They have 15 days to review. When they review the sufficiency of the notice, if the notice is sufficient, then the 120-day clock begins on May 30th, 2025. But we have not, we don't know if the notice is sufficient yet, but it is 222 West Townsend Road. We looked at it and it does not abut any conservation property. It seems to be, it's surrounded by houses and residential properties. So I'm not sure what the process for this is. If we get notification that there is a chapter, some property coming out of chapter 61 or being sold, is if we determine that it's definitely not something of interest, should we always talk about it during the meeting when something is coming out?
That's a best practice.
Okay. All right. Should I put it on the agenda for next meeting or should we talk about it tonight?
Technically, I think it falls under the within 48 hours rule.
Okay. So we have 222 West Townsend Road, which is behind Central Mass Gardens. Would somebody want to share their screen and show the
Madam-
area? Yep,
Yeah, may I share?
absolutely.
Yeah, it's this parcel. That shows us 172. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. My apologies.
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay, just to give people, so this is the Central Mass, North Central Mass Garden Center. There's solar fields out here. The Christmas tree farm is back in here. This, I believe, is the Peabody North Country Land Trust property. And the Lane parcel is over here with the Holman Street parking lot right here. Does that get everybody oriented? There's no public land abutting this, which is one of the criteria. Parcels of greater than 50 acres is another criteria. I believe this one is smaller than that. I looked it up last night. I had to click through a lot of things and get rid of this view, and the Mass GIS have another tool. I can go look at it more quickly and without disrupting the view. Okay, it's 13 acres, right? So it also doesn't meet, and everybody might recall that we have a what is it called? It's called I'm forgetting the name of it. Basically, it's our strategy for open space planning for for Lunenburg, and it's set on a 7-year cycle. I think it's up for renewal next year, 2027 maybe.
Master plan.
Yeah, I think it's a master plan. I think is the right terminology, Rich. And it has 6 criteria for making new acquisitions or recommending new acquisitions for the town. One of which is it's, you know, adjacency to other town-owned parcels. Another is size, 50 acres or larger. You know, another criteria is scenic views and byways, all of which are in that master plan and annotated in that master plan. This is, at least to the best of my recollection, is not any of those scenic byways. There's also, you know, land of agricultural importance, which I think is outside of our jurisdiction, and maybe a couple of others. But ideally, a property would have carry 3 of those characteristics to be, you know, supported as a land acquisition by the town. Anyway, in my opinion, as one commissioner, I would not be advocating for the town to purchase this parcel. Just based on the
Thank you.
criteria that I just articulated.
Thank you, Mary. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to that?
No, I would agree with Mary, Madam Chair.
And I also agree with Mary that this would not be of interest to us or meet the requirements to be.
Madam
So-
Chair, do you want to take a vote on that to formalize the?
I say,
I would make a motion that we recommend not to purchase this or to exercise our right of refusal.
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Peter Stella,
Yes, not to purchase. Or
Mike Leary. Oh,
I not to purchase.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
and an aye for myself. Thank you, Mike. So the motion to not move forward with the exercising the right of first refusal on this property, which is 222 West Townsend Road in Lunenburg. Okay. Thank you, Mary, for guiding me through that. Let's see. So grants updates. Do we have any grants updates?
Madam Chair, if I may, I've done the updates for the Conservation Commission, you know, parking planning grants. I've also done all of the paperwork for our first request for reimbursement, and we would get reimbursed 80% of the expenditures to date, which comes to approximately $28,000 that we are eligible for reimbursement for. I've submitted all of the documentation to Mass Trails Administrator, except for I need copies of the canceled checks, and I have asked the Treasury Department for it, the town Treasury Department for it. They've not been responsive, and after hearing last night that they've been in the middle of transitioning their financial systems, I understand why they haven't been responsive. I thought I would wait another week or so and then reach back out to them again, just where I was hoping to get the documentation and whatnot completed and submitted in May, because the state DCR people start going into their financial cycle in June and July. So I can still submit for us in June and July. It just might not be August until we get it. So there's no urgency now, but I'll keep chasing that up. That's all for me.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing all of that, Mary. It was amazing. And thank you for the update. Conservation land improvement. Do we have any updates on that? I know we have, the Boy Scouts are working on some things. We have the people out for Earth Day. Is there anything that you'd like to share, Mary? Yes.
Yeah, I did just a slight update, right? But, you know, recall for Earth Day, one of the projects we had, the Lunenburg, High School National Honor Society doing a group project over in Table Rock. There were several members of the National Honor Society that weren't able to attend that, and they're required to, you know, as a condition of their National Honor Society membership, they're supposed to do a certain amount of, volunteer work. So the people that were not able to attend have been contacting me separately, and I've had three other volunteers that have reached out. We have a young lady who just updated almost all of our trailhead kiosk with new information, including that, you know, volunteer QR code. You know, we need our volunteers placard. And Bob Pease, who you know is still very active in trail stewardship, had updated the, you know, QR code to get people to online map tools. She wasn't able to complete one because the plexiglass was broken. I think that was at Hunting Hills. The second one she wasn't able to complete because it had active wasp nests in it, which I'm glad personally that she didn't try to go undertake that. Would have hated for her to have been hurt, but all of the other ones she's updated. So that's really cool. The other thing is I had a young lady reach out to me this week looking for project work, and she is I'm going to direct her over to the Blue Trail that goes along the north side of Mulpus Brook to add additional trailblazes there. I was out there a couple of weekends ago scouting some work that the scouts want to do, and they're going to widen the trail in that area. This is one of the places we had talked about putting in some boardwalk or catwalks to kind of keep people out of the, you know, the wet areas and keep them from, you know, enlarging the trail and causing erosion and whatnot. That the Boy Scouts were going to, rather Scouts of America, were going to widen it, and I'll add this other young lady's efforts to go out and add more trailblazers in that area. And then the "You Are Here" signs are almost completely installed in the Northwest Town Forest, and that was two other National Honor Society students, and that's a ton of work because that's a big trail system. It's easy to go out and do a couple of 5-mile loops in that trail system, and that's the property behind and around the O'Brien property. And they've just about got all the "You Are Here" signs out on that property as well. So that's a big undertaking and a huge improvement that helps people, you know, use our trail systems safer. So that's cool. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that. I went out and walked the new trail that's being cut in at Table Rock this weekend and saw all the new bridges, and it was great. It's really nice. It's going to be a great addition to that trail system. Let's see, what do we have coming up next? Hollis Road. Mike, do you have any updates on any improvements or anything at the Hollis Road residence?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I think we're still waiting for the lease agreement to be set up with town council.
Okay. Yep. So we're still working on that. And then nothing as far as any improvements in the building or in the structures or in the yard that we know of.
Just that people are mowing, I'm assuming.
Okay.
And I have not gotten any word that things are not operating. I did recently, I may have mentioned that I put up some additional storage hooks in the shed, so things are a little bit more organized in the pollinator habitat shed. Otherwise, things look pretty good.
Awesome. I have to get out there and see what it looks like now and see what's blooming now, because I'm sure it's amazing.
You'll have to make way because there are a lot of butterflies and
Ooh, I like making way for those things.
absolutely.
So, okay. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Committee reports. Chris is not here, so I don't think we're going to have anything from open space. Stormwater. We had a good meeting at our last meeting. We talked about the presentation that Bill did at the town meeting. And we are, just still in the process of working on setting up that stormwater utility and trying to socialize it to the town. And that's really it from stormwater. And do we have any communications from members of the commission? Does not look like it. It does. We do not have anybody here from the public, so I don't think. Oh, Pete, your hand up.
I've kind of had to dig a little further, and now I can see where in our bylaw the 30-foot is more, let's say, detailed. It comes from there's a link on, so maybe we should add a link to our Conservation Commission, because it might be helpful underneath Wetlands Protection Bylaw to whatever the other section is. It's like 335, I think. You know what I'm talking about? That's why you can't find, I don't know if there's a way to get to it from, like, all the links inside the Code 360 thing, E-Code 360, they all stay within chapter 239. They don't go, there's no link, I don't think, from that in 239 that brings you to, I think it's 335. You search for 30, you come up on it somewhere, right? 335, which is part of wetlands. In other words, it's another wetlands regulations, right? I don't know why that is. So 335 is wetlands regulations, which has a lot of the same information. It's a little changed around, a little more details. And then it talks about the 30-foot. So my only issue was I didn't see it in the other part. So I don't know if that should be another little thing on the Conservation Commission webpage underneath Wetlands Protection Bylaw, because it's a little, and do we tell people that anywhere else, like on our webpage, for someone else that comes along and goes, hey, I cut down a tree 30 feet from the water? Because
So we do.
See that when people are, that other than, I mean, an engineer, somebody goes down and hires an engineer, but maybe there should be another link so that people, I don't know, they're gonna get caught in the back end of the thing. But anyway, that's why I didn't see it. I found the definition in the wetland, and that's why somewhere I found it. I know I found it in here, but I can't find the definition. I don't know why.
Looks like
It's
Mary
sometimes-
might.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mary might have something that can help clarify for you. Mary? Oh, Mary, you're muted.
Muted so that my dogs don't disturb your beautiful meeting. Yeah, so all of this is on our and I got rid of the it's on our webpage. Hang on just a second, I'll go back to our Berg
Is it different?
yeah, they're all linked on the off of the webpage. Right, so share.
Oh, let me
Right,
look at
so here's our webpage, right? Inland Act information. right? The brochure, the Mass State Act, our actually here's the Wetland Protection Act, the Wetland State Regulations, Lunenburg regulations as well.
Yeah, but does anything bring you? I'm just saying, I went through a lot of this stuff, and does anything bring you to 335?
This isn't linked specifically to 335, but it is 335. And, you know, maybe it'd be even better if it linked you to 335 at the top.
Oh, wait, there is one place I can find it, but I didn't notice it. In the bylaw, in chapter 239, general references, then it goes down, and then it says 335. And
right.
Subdivision regulations.
Right.
I kind of missed that one little spot there.
And 335 should be the same as this. Right now, there is an error in the E code under 335, and it's a 2014 version. Basically the same in essence, with a few clarifications. This is the 2019 version.
All
That
right.
the town is aware of that, and you know, I notified them of that error back in February, and I re-notified them of that error a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so there are in the little packet that Mary sent it when you first started, there are links to all of these things.
I don't know if those are, I think I read through, I was looking through that, and I was just trying to wonder whether I missed it. I had gone and looked at this, and I'd read a whole bunch of other stuff, but I never, for some reason, I didn't find myself ever in that part. You know, I mean, outside, it's just partially, I was reading other things, trying to figure it out. Although I don't really like the idea of it, just tell people you can't do it. We don't allow it. I don't know whether there's room for looking at changing it to make our regulation a little bit more agreeable. I don't know, or flexible. Am I unmuted? Yeah. That's all.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes. Right.
I'm not sure if I'm missing something, but when I agreed to be on the commission, I saw my position as protecting the wetland. The wetland who does not have a voice, but we as commissioners, we're the ones who are trying to educate our applicants in what the wetlands, what we can do in the wetlands and what we can't do in the wetlands. And I want to be on that side of advocacy to hopefully help applicants understand that without our voice, you just can't go ahead and do whatever you think you feel you can do because you own a piece of property. So that's the oath that I took when I signed on as a conservation commissioner. And I thought that's what we all signed up for. If you didn't, I think you need to question whether this is the right thing for you.
Absolutely not. It's the right thing for me because who stands up for the person that stands before this board wanting to utilize their own land? They have a right too. They own that land. They pay taxes.
But they have a voice, Peter. They can pursue other avenues.
That's fine. That's fine. But I'm a by the book kind of guy.
Do not have a voice. We are.
That's fine. That's fine.
So,
I agree, but I'm not. I don't want to have the attitude. Look, if it's the law, that's fine. I got to go along with whatever the law is. I do things every day that I don't like because it's the law. But I'm not going to read into the law. So what my feeling was until I see it in the law is, where is it in the law? I'm not going to push conservation to the point where I'm, placing a frog or a bird above the life of a human and his happiness. People pay a lot of taxes and a lot of money. they have to put up with all our meetings and everything else. So I feel that we should try whenever possible to go, spend our time, because we have a limited amount of time, going after other things. I haven't said anything because I don't know where we're at, but because I'm still trying to understand the process. But 390 Howard Street, I've been looking at that, like it just completely blows my mind that there's nothing we can do when he's clearly, like, who knows what he's doing up there, I mean, and it would be different if he was doing a little bit of something and, something we don't catch, but he's obviously, I think what he's doing is he's trying to alter the landscape in such a way as to reduce the size of the wetland before we can get in there and look at it. Beyond that too, he's got all sorts of equipment running around there with no type of erosion control. I was at Powell's today picking up some material in a trailer, and I noticed that Powell has a lot of like old chip material on the border of their gravel pit. And obviously what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep silt from washing out of their gravel pit and going into a wetland and causing a problem. What's going on over there? Maybe there's a lot of soil and erosion going on there, and I'm sure there's no silt fence or anything in place.
So Pete, if that's a concern for you as far as that property goes, then you would want to alert our agent, our interim agent, Herlin, and have her go look at it. So if you have an issue, or if there's any properties that you see, because I actually see a lot when I'm out and about, if there are any properties that you see that you have a concern about, that you would definitely want to report that to the office. But I don't think we should bring it up in a meeting before the office has had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, I don't know that's why I'm kind of like, I asked that question too. I was wondering if it's appropriate for us to like look at a property like that through a drone. I know you guys had talked about it a while back. I know as a private citizen, it's a gray area because you can fly over somebody's property unless they've told you can't.
I'm going to stop you there. If that's something that you were looking to discuss as a commission, that would be something that you could request to put on an agenda. I'm fairly certain that that is not something that is allowed, but I do not know the answer to that outright. But that would be something that you would want to request from the chair or the vice chair, if that was something that would be appropriate to be on the agenda.
Yeah, I think it's something you have to look at anyway, because I think there's legal ramifications due to it be considered a non-private use of a drone. But I would like to talk about it at some point. If you want to put it on an agenda when we don't have a heavy schedule, so we can get out of here before 11 o'clock. That's all.
Okay, Mary, did you have something to add?
Yeah, Madam Chair, regarding the drone, we had as a commission had this topic come up before with a property that was a back parcel that we didn't have good access with, that had some violations going on that we were dealing with, and I thought I had heard we had some counsel from Adam Costa on that. I don't recall it, so I don't want to say it out loud, as part of public meeting. But I think that if there is a case for considering getting some drone footage, that we would want to make certain that we have clear advice from Adam Costa on that. And so what I would recommend is, that Pete, maybe, if you have an address in mind or whatnot, that you send it privately to Jenny, as the chair, and maybe Rich as the vice chair, right? With whatever your concern is and what your proposal is. And then, Jenny can get advice from Adam on that, right? Because, if we found something that didn't look right, that merited further investigation, we would want to make certain we were dotting the I's and crossing the T's, so that any drone footage that you might get would be able to support ensuring the right thing was done and not disallow because of some technicality that we weren't aware of.
All right,
Thank you, Mary.
thank you.
Personally, I'm
Okay.
excited about having access to a drone.
Okay, so I think, do we have any more commission comments?
I just have one question.
Yes.
Do we have any interest, as in new applicants, coming to the select board meeting? Or, because there's 2 positions
Yeah.
opening, I think.
Yep, we do have some applicants who will be at the meeting on the 17th.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Are you thinking of staying?
Yeah, no, I was just curious. I mean, I was just hoping that we did have some, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's tough to get quorum, and it would be really difficult losing 2 members without a backfill of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have some interested applicants, but we're always happy to have current commission members, get reappointed.
Okay.
Okay, so I think the next thing is just the upcoming meeting we have scheduled for 6/18/2025. And other than that, I think I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All right, roll call vote. Peter Stella,
Yes.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Richard Bursch.
Aye.
All right, thank you all for bearing with me through my crazy
Jenny,
IT issues.
I just want to say out loud that I think the time is 8:50 p.m.
Oh, yes, it is 8:50 p.m.
Madam Chair,
On June 4th. Yes.
2 quick things. One, Mary is no longer listed still on our agendas as a member.
Oh.
I noticed that
think we
too.
did. Oh, yeah, vacancy.
Might
I
be a
thought we
moot
got that
point.
fixed. No. And then okay, what was the other thing? I'm gonna message Lynn about that, or
So,
Logan.
no.
Logan has been.
You can see my OpenGov.
Yes.
So NOI 24/9. I only have 7 files.
Wait, that's weird. I think it's NOI. Is it 24-9? Hold on. Yeah. And then you're going into, so scroll down. Do you have the attachments?
I just have these 7 files. So
Oh, yours looks totally different than mine. I'm on my phone right now, but the way that mine looks is oh, you know what the problem is? You're in the front end rather than the employee login, which is it's called, I can't fully see, but it's lunenburgmass.workflow.opengov.com. And I can send you a link to that. So, and then it should be your same username and password as the front end. They're both front ends, but one is like if you were opening a permit for yourself, and then this is where you're in the actual employee login.
Okay. Yeah, because I have both accounts. All right. I do see a different screen coming up. So
that should do it for you.
all right.
Yeah, I do that. I do that. I'm like, wait, why does this look so weird? And it's because I'm in the wrong one. So now you should have access to everything, the workflows and all of the good stuff. Yep, there you are. And I'm glad we got that sorted out.
Yep. Super. Thank you very much.
Okay, so are we officially, we're officially adjourned, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you all, and
you.
have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.